Hi, everybody. This is David Skarica, and this is one in the series of interviews we're doing. We do with special opportunities. We have been focused on mining. I've been a mining guy mostly for the last 20 years, anyhow. But a lot of what we've done is gold and precious metals, and they're seeing a correction and consolidation right now. So I was looking at something. One of the commodities is actually stronger, which is copper, which is north of $4, and Brian Monahan, who's here with me from Pacific Ridge Exploration, PEX, on the TSX. He'll tell you about the opportunities in that, but there's very few pure copper kind of plays. Even in the large cap arena, we were just talking about this off air that, you've got Southern Copper and Freeport-McMoRan, but, most copper is produced as an offshoot of gold and silver. And now, and I think anything, he can disagree or agree with me, but I think anything over 350 copper is really, you can really make money economically drilling it, especially over $4. And, the macro side of things, and we'll get into that in a second, but, we're going to have Green New Deals and infrastructure projects and this move to green energy, which, one thing that people don't talk about is, electric cars need copper, so maybe you can tell us a bit about the company, yourself, how you became involved, and your expectations for drilling, etc., going forward.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about there in my answer. So I guess I'll talk about first what attracted me to Pacific Ridge. I am the new CEO. I just took over in January. What really attracted me to Pacific Ridge was that, first off, its valuation was very, very attractive. It only had a 1.5 million market cap at the time, and 750,000 cash in the treasury, a really strong portfolio of projects, a really solid management and technical team. And I was very bullish on copper. So I'd actually been on the board of Pacific Ridge for several years. Last year, we made the strategic decision to pivot from gold to copper gold projects in BC. I was very bullish on gold at the time. I also felt that really gold is a pretty crowded space. There aren't too many copper companies, copper exploration companies, and certainly not this time last year, when copper was about half the price, trading in kind of the $2 range. So we struck a deal with Centerra Gold, a larger producer, to acquire up to 75% of Clayol and Redton, which are both copper gold projects in BC. We're really excited by Clayol. So I joined the company based on the fact that I just thought it was very, very inexpensive. We had a great team, great projects. And I thought I could really, help leverage all of that to make Pacific Ridge more fairly valued. I still don't think it's fairly valued today. Today we have, while we've improved, you can see by the chart there, when I came on, we were about 5 cents. We got up to about 14, and today we're about 10. It's a little weaker out there right now. But I think we've got a long way to go. We still only have a market cap of about $4.5 million, and we just raised $1.1 million from one large institutional fund in Germany. So we're well on our way. We added a really strong director, also Borden Putnam, who is used to be a buy-side analyst at several large U.S. funds. So the stars are really lining for Pacific Ridge. We've got some great copper gold projects. The underlying fundamentals for copper are great. We strengthened our management team. We're cashed up, and we're getting ready to launch this drill program at Clayol this summer. So really excited, and it's returned some great intercepts in the past, and we look to expand the footprint and come up with a new copper gold porphyry discovery in BC.
Yeah, I think one thing I'd like to mention, because we're going to talk a bit about the geology here and what you're looking at doing drilling going forward. But in terms of the share structure, I always find that's one of my number one, I guess I could say, technical or fundamental indicators I look for, because you can have the greatest junior in the world, and if you got this terrible share structure with hundreds of millions of shares slopping around, which a lot of them do, and the stocks, a lot of this money was raised at higher levels, and the stock's always hitting because people are looking at their money back, etc. The stock can go nowhere. And the great thing about this is 45 million at this stage is still a pretty tight market cap, and it means also this company didn't spend a lot of time diluting, when it was 5, 6, 7 cents, raising, millions and millions of dollars, and, having that stock just waiting there, sitting, waiting to hit the market. So that's pretty good. I always find that if a company's keeping that market, that share structure under 50 or 60 million shares, if some good news comes out in terms of drill results or going into production or whatever it may be, there's a catalyst to really move it. Because that's another thing people have to understand about juniors is usually when a company has 40 million outstanding, you just mentioned raising money with a fund out of Germany, usually there's a couple small funds in there, you have the insiders in. So a lot of companies only have 45 million shares understanding, might actually only have a 10 million real float, and or 20 million real float, because that's the actual retail investors that own it, and that's actually pretty easy to churn through if you have some good news.
Absolutely, and that's exactly right with Pacific Ridge. So even after that raise with that one investor out of Germany, we still only have 42 million shares issued, and the German investor has 19% of the shares, and insiders and quote unquote friends would have another 19%. So about 40% of the shares, I would say, are in pretty strong hands. And you're right. I mean, if we have any sort of success with this drill program, and frankly, I think just as we continue to get out there and tell our story in this environment, with all the M&A that's happening in BC, there's been several big transactions lately because people are looking for these sorts of projects. And as we continue to highlight our value proposition, I think Pacific Ridge will continue to move higher regardless, because of the structure, because of the cash, and then obviously as we move towards drilling, and if we have strong results with that share structure, it provides investors with a lot of torque.
So you say you noted that you raised 1.1 million through this fund. So what is the actual size of your drill program?
Yeah,
in terms of money spent, etc.
Yeah, so we acquired this project last year, and we did a lot of good work on as far as the data goes, and looking to find where we could potentially increase the size of the footprint. I think this is a modest campaign to start with. We are looking to do about 2,500 meters, and we budgeted about $1.6 million for that program, and we're looking to start in July. So right now, what I call the Cliole main zone, which has returned those historical intercepts, and only about 4 deeper holes which identified that porphyry mineralization, 250-meter intercepts of about 0.75 copper equivalent, which compares quite favorably to a lot of other copper, gold porphyry deposits and mines in BC. So we'll be looking to do at least 5 holes, about 500 meters a hole, 3 holes in that Cliole main zone where we have returned those historical intercepts, looking to increase the size. We've also identified 2 adjacent targets that haven't been previously tested. We'll be looking to test those. So when you look at the Cliole main zone, the Cliole East, the Cliole West target, that has a strike length of about 1.5 kilometers. And it's only seen about 33 drill holes in total since drilling started in the 70s, and only 5 of those have been deeper holes getting into the porphyry mineralization. And in addition to the Cliole main zone, there's 4 other porphyry targets that occur along a 4-kilometer strike. So there's a lot of work to do. It's very early days, but we have some very promising historical data to work with, and we're looking to get in there and return similar, if not better, intercepts, looking to increase the size of the footprint.
Okay, it's pretty simple and straightforward. And what would your time frame be like on completing the program?
Yeah, so if we start, say, mid-July, we're probably going to be out of there end of August, beginning September. And the assay labs were quite slow this year. I mean, there was just a lot more exploration taking place, provincially and across the country and around the world. So the assay labs were a little slow to respond. And I was hearing upwards of 2 to 3 months for assays being returned. I don't know if the assay labs have staffed up more appropriately, but I would suspect that if we finish, say, at the end of August, beginning of September, you could see results sometime latter part of October, November for drill results.
Okay, so what we do usually with these interviews as well is I follow up, every quarter when whenever news is prudent. So maybe we'll follow up, maybe when in July when the drill program starts, and then maybe again in the fall when when it looks like you'll have some results in. and then we'll see where it goes from here. So, but like I said, I think this is really unique because this is, if you're someone who's bullish on copper, and or if you're just looking to diversify, not only be in gold and precious metals, this is one of the really few pure copper plays out there.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to add to that, Dave, is Catalyst obviously is the start of drilling, but one thing we're looking to do, as I mentioned, we pivoted last year to become more of a copper gold focused company. So we'll be looking to acquire additional copper gold projects in BC to add to that portfolio. And there is some hidden value in Pacific Ridge also. As I mentioned, we did make that pivot. So we still have a number of gold projects in the Yukon. I expect you'll see us spin those out into a new co or sell them. And we're also due $1 million from another partner at the end of the year. So, I mean, when you look at Pacific Ridge right now with a market cap of only $5 million, we have 1.6 million in cash. We have a portfolio of gold projects we're looking to spin out, and we have $1 million coming to us at the end of the year. I mean, this is, I think this is very, very attractive considering where we are, the projects, the team, the structure. I think there's a lot more value to be unlocked here.
Yeah, and of course,
that's why I'm excited by it.
Yeah, and the simple math is, with 42 million shares out of 9-10 cents, your market cap's $4 million. Which is, and by the way, that's another thing when my friend Mike Swanson and I kind of consult with these companies and do these agreements where we're like helping to, like I said, consult and promote and market the companies to our people. That's one of the key things we're looking for. Aftermath Silver, which is through Mike Williams, is a friend of ours. I think that's how you got introduced to me, is through Mike. That was what happened when Aftermath got launched at 8 cents a couple of years ago. The market cap was virtually nothing, and the share structure was super tight. So once they,
and all of a sudden, silver became hot. So the stars aligned for Aftermath, and that's what I'm hoping here also. Exactly.
Yeah, and it was the perfect scenario with the share structure, the market being hot, the project they put into it. Boom! All of a sudden, the stock was north of $1. So I think that's again really key, because I always say it's very simple that it's easier for like a $4 or $5 million company to become $100 million company than $100 million company become a $2 billion company in this arena. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, honestly, I can look at some of our comparables out there, some other companies that, have some copper gold projects in BC. And, I think by far and away, we're a laggard. Some of them are trading at 10 times our market cap right now. And I think largely that's because, people aren't aware of Pacific Ridge. And since coming on in January, that's been my mission, is to get out there and continue to try to increase the interest and awareness. And I think it's paying some dividends, but again, I think we've got a long way to go.
Okay, that's perfect. So like I said, in a few months, we'll catch up. And I'm actually going to buy some of the market about the time that this interview hits. And
I bought almost 700,000 shares before, when I came on as CEO in early January.
That's great. It's always what you want to hear. Thanks for being here. And like I said, we'll follow up in a few months.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks. Okay, so that's it. The recording is stopped.